Welcome to the History in Focus channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this one.
A father of two was photographed moments before tragically losing his life in May 2023 in California. He had stopped his car to help a family of ducks cross a busy road, ensuring the ducklings reached the other side safely. While performing the altruistic act, Casey was unexpectedly struck by a vehicle. Olga Sheena shared a moving photo of her husband holding their sleeping son on the steps of Metrojet Flight 9268 with the caption, "We're going home," on October 31, 2015. Shortly after takeoff, the flight experienced a devastating explosion, causing the aircraft to disintegrate mid-air and resulting in the loss of all 224 passengers and crew members on board. Air Florida Flight 90, a Boeing 737-222, faced a devastating tragedy shortly after taking off from Washington en route to Florida in January 1982. Seconds after takeoff, the aircraft lost altitude and crashed into the Potomac River, resulting in the deaths of 78 people. The crash also impacted the bridge connecting Washington to Arlington, which partially collapsed. Before hitting the water, the plane collided with 7 occupied vehicles on the bridge, connecting Washington to Arlington, adding further tragedy to the incident. The crash into the Potomac River, combined with the impact on the vehicles, led to a significant loss of life and created widespread shock. A Polish influencer couple tried to surprise their followers with a daring photo, crossing the safety barrier at a high location to get a more dramatic angle. Their children, who were taking the photo, witnessed the tragedy when the couple lost their balance and fell hundreds of feet. Steven Weber planned a unique and unforgettable proposal for his girlfriend while they were on vacation in Tanzania in 2019. He dove underwater to the window of the hotel room, holding a handwritten note and a ring. In a romantic gesture, he showed the proposal through the glass, but tragically he ran out of breath and was unable to return to the surface. This is the last image of former Thai Navy SEAL Saman Gunan, captured before his rescue mission in 2018. Saman was returning after delivering air tanks for the 12 boys and their soccer coach trapped in the flooded Tham Luang cave complex. During his return journey, he lost consciousness due to a lack of oxygen and did not survive, sacrificing his life in support of the rescue operation. On a trail near the railroad in Utah, 3 teenagers, Essa Ricker, Kelsey Webster, and Savannah Webster, took a smiling selfie with the train in the background in October 2011. Shortly after this photo, they were struck and tragically lost their lives. In this photo, we see Irina Glazunova, a 24-year-old Russian influencer born in Moscow. She enjoyed her vacation with a friend in the city of Tbilisi, capital of Georgia. Excited by the recording, Irina takes her friend's phone and begins to walk sideways, focused on filming and unaware of what lay ahead. Distracted by the filming, Irina ended up falling into an uncovered subway entrance, plummeting about 16 feet, 5 meters, and striking her head directly on the ground. Her friend immediately called emergency services, but upon arrival at the hospital, Irina was already in critical condition. Unfortunately, due to a severe skull fracture, she did not survive. In the final moments before a tragic accident, Andrea Mazzetto posed for this photo alongside his partner. Seconds later, while trying to retrieve his fallen phone, he lost his balance and fell more than 600 feet, resulting in a fatality. The 30-year-old man and his girlfriend, Sarah Braganti, decided to capture a moment at the edge of a ravine. The couple was climbing the Alternato, a rock formation in their hometown of Ratso, when the accident occurred. Following the tragedy, some social media haters unfairly directed blame at his girlfriend Sarah, intensifying her suffering. In this image, a jaguar prepares to attack a man from behind, capturing a moment of extreme tension. The man's partner, aware of the imminent danger, stands by holding a weapon and watching closely, ready to intervene. Before they could react, the jaguar advanced rapidly, leaving the men with little or no time to defend themselves. The attack resulted in a fatality, highlighting the predator's impressive speed. One day, Australian tourist Catherine Warburton, 29, decided to ignore the safety barriers and jumped over an 8-foot, 2.5-meter fence to approach the cage of Binky, a polar bear, in an attempt to capture a closer photo. However, Binky's predatory instincts quickly took over. He managed to poke his snout through the bars and bit Catherine's foot, resulting in serious injuries. This incident occurred on July 29, 1994. The next morning, Binky made the headlines by appearing on the front page of the Anchorage Daily News, holding Catherine's red sneaker between his teeth. This seemingly ordinary yearbook photo shows the graduating class of Columbine High School in April 1999. However, a disturbing detail emerges in the upper left corner of the image. Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the future perpetrators of the tragic school attack, pose making gun gestures at the camera. Just days after this photo, on April 20, 1999, Eric and Dylan carried out a devastating attack on Columbine High School, taking the lives of 12 students and a teacher. This massacre shocked the world, marking one of the most painful events in recent American school history. This security camera image records the moment when a woman under extreme coercion makes a bank withdrawal shortly before her own violent death. The case involved a man who held the woman, her 2 children, and one of the son's girlfriends as hostages for hours. During the captivity, all were subjected to abuse at the hands of the assailant. Shortly after forcing the mother to withdraw money, he took the lives of all hostages, casting a dark shadow over the country's history. French inventor Franz Reichelt, determined to prove the effectiveness of his own parachute, chose the iconic Eiffel Tower in Paris as the test site in 1912. This photo captures the final moments before his daring jump, performed in front of a curious crowd. However, Franz Reichelt's parachute did not work as planned and failed to open, causing him to plummet 187 feet, 57 meters, to the ground. Interestingly, the autopsy revealed that his cause of death was not the impact, but a heart attack suffered during the fall. A photograph of an air show captures the Hawker Hunter jet in the final moments of a loop that ended in disaster on August 22, 2015, in the United Kingdom. The jet unexpectedly lost altitude, colliding with the A27 road and hitting several vehicles at the scene. This occurred around 1:20 p.m., where the devastating accident claimed the lives of 11 people, while the pilot miraculously survived. The impact of this event shocked the United Kingdom, leading to a review of airshow safety regulations. In one of the most terrifying moments in professional surfing, Mick Fanning found himself face-to-face with a great white shark during a competition. The shark apparently got entangled in Mick's safety cord, creating tension. In an act of courage and instinct, Mick punched the shark, driving it away and calming the panic for both the spectators on the shore and those watching the event live. This image captures the exact moment when a Ukrainian soldier leaps and, unknowingly, is about to step on a hidden Russian landmine on the battlefield. The instant his foot touches the ground, the mine is triggered, causing serious injuries. Although he survived and was discharged from the hospital, the soldier lost his right leg due to the damage from the explosion. This photo captures the final moments of Ali Khan Samsudin, a famous snake charmer, just before he was fatally attacked by one of his snakes in 2006. Known for his skills and mastery over snakes, Ali suffered a deadly bite that he could not survive, tragically ending his life amidst the practice that had made him famous. Zhenya Ignatieva, a 17-year-old Russian girl, was passionate about taking daring and dramatic selfies. In this image, she was attempting to capture another impressive shot, but right after the click, she lost her balance and fell onto 500-volt power lines. The tragedy took her life, becoming a poignant example of the dangers associated with extreme photos. This image shows a prisoner moments before his execution in the electric chair at Sing Sing Prison in New York. First developed in 1887 as a supposedly more humane alternative to hanging, the electric chair became a grim symbol of capital punishment. At Sing Sing, the chair, grimly nicknamed Old Sparky, was used to execute 614 people over the decades. This photo captures Officer Ashley Gwindon on her first day of service with the Prince William County Police Department. Just 28 years old, Ashley was excited to begin her career when, during her first shift, she responded to a domestic violence call at the Hamiltons' residence in Woodbridge. Tragically, upon arrival, she was fatally shot by a suspect, turning her first day on the job into her last. Ronald Williams Hamilton, in a cowardly act, murdered his wife, Crystal Hamilton, and, during the police response, also took the life of Officer Ashley and injured 2 other officers in Prince William County, Virginia. Initially, Hamilton faced a death sentence for the crime. However, with the abolition of the death penalty in Virginia in 2021, his sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Tina and Gabe Watson were on their honeymoon in Australia, and Gabe, enthusiastic about diving at the Great Barrier Reef, convinced Tina to join him, claiming to be a certified diver. In reality, he lacked the experience needed to handle the strong currents. During the dive, as conditions worsened, Gabe quickly swam back to the surface, leaving Tina behind. He later justified his actions by claiming ear problems that allegedly prevented him from diving deeper to help her. This image captured Tina in her final moments, lying on her side at the bottom of the sea. This photo shows Brazilian priest Adelier Antonio de Carli moments before embarking on a daring attempt to set a world record on April 20, 2008. Planning to fly for 20 hours with the help of 600 helium balloons. He intended to stay aloft for more than 19 hours in a journey that combined adventure and spirituality, capturing public and media attention. However, shortly after takeoff, Adelier Antonio de Carli disappeared, prompting intensive searches and speculation that he might have survived a forced landing. Sadly, hope was dashed 2 months later when parts of his body were found along the coast, confirming the tragic end of his attempt. Andrei Retrovsky, 17 years old, was unaware that this would be his last day. 10 seconds after this photo was taken, he fell from the building, tragically marking the end of his life. This is the last known photo of Bruce Lee, taken in July 1973, just days before his death. Regarded as a martial arts legend and cinema icon, Bruce Lee left a lasting legacy that influenced generations. His untimely death at the age of 32 shocked the world, making this image a symbol of his final moments. This photo shows Olisha, a 31-year-old woman from Kazakhstan who, after a prolonged lockdown period during which she was trapped in the country, sought moments of freedom and fun in Turkey. This photo captures her last moments of joy before tragedy struck. For an instant, Olisha lost her balance and fell from a cliff over 100 feet, 30 meters high. A famous magic show performed by the duo Siegfried Fischbacher and Roy Horn in 2003 ended in tragedy when one of the White Tigers, a central part of their performance, attacked Roy on stage. The tragic performance resulted in serious injuries that left him partially paralyzed. The incident marked the end of the famous duo Siegfried and Roy's live performances, closing an era of dazzling shows in Las Vegas. This chilling photo captures the last moments of Regina K. Walters, documented by her own killer. Regina and her boyfriend, Ricky Lee Jones, had left their everyday lives behind for an adventure southward, intending to reach Mexico. Along the way, they accepted a ride from Robert, a seemingly harmless truck driver who had actually turned his truck into a torture chamber. Known as the Truck Stop Killer, Rhodes took Regina's life, marking one of the most disturbing highway crimes in U.S. history. This image is considered the last known photograph of the RMS Titanic during its maiden voyage. Taken on April 11, 1912, shortly after the ship departed from Queenstown, it shows the Titanic with approximately 2,224 passengers and crew on board, beginning its final journey. 3 days later, it collided with an iceberg, resulting in the tragic loss of about 1,500 lives and marking the deadliest peacetime sinking of a single ship at the time. This image captures Tupac Shakur leaving the MGM Grand in Las Vegas after attending Mike Tyson's boxing match on the night of September 7, 1996. Moments earlier, a scuffle in the lobby had heightened tensions between rival groups. Tupac and Suge Knight were seen leaving together in a car. A few hours later, Tupac was fatally shot in a drive-by, tragically marking the escalation of the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry. Ayrton Senna, legendary Formula One driver, is seen resting during a break before the fateful accident in 1994. The fatal crash during the race took his life and left a deep impact on the world of motorsport, marking the end of a brilliant career and deeply moving fans worldwide. This is the last photo of a group of tourists on White Island, taken on July 9, 2019. Moments after the photo was taken, the volcano on White Island erupted, resulting in a tragedy that took the lives of 5 people, leaving at least 18 injured and 10 missing. The unexpected eruption turned the excursion into a scene of despair and devastation, highlighting the relentless power of nature. This image of Hiroshima captures the city moments before the atomic bombing during World War II, between 1940 and 1945. Taken shortly after the bombing, this image shows the devastation in Hiroshima, where only a few structures, such as the well-known Genbaku Dome, remained partially standing. At the time, it is estimated that about 350,000 people were in the city, including tens of thousands of Koreans and Chinese forced into labor camps by the Japanese Empire. This image shows Hank Carr alongside police officers moments before the tragic unfolding of events. Dressed in white, the 2 officers were killed by Carr shortly after this photo was taken. The incident became one of the most disturbing cases of violence against police, with serious consequences that impacted police safety and operations. Jolie Callan set off for a hike with her ex-boyfriend Lauren Bunner in Cheetah State Park, Alabama on August 30, 2015. In a tragic turn of events, Bunner pushed Callan off a cliff approximately 40 feet high, ending her life. This disturbing image, captured by Bunner, shows Callan's final moments just before the fatal act, marking an instant that would become part of a shocking crime for her family and friends. This photo shows a group of experienced cross-country skiers who, shortly afterward, met their deaths under inexplicable circumstances near the Dyatlov Pass in 1959 in the remote Ural Mountains of Russia. The extreme conditions and lack of clear explanations about what happened to these skiers made the case one of the 20th century's most haunting legends. Speculation surrounding the tragedy ranged from secret military tests to alien encounters, but no definitive explanation was found. According to the Soviet investigation at the time, the group members apparently fled from an unknown compelling force, leaving behind their belongings and makeshift shelters. The case spawned a series of bizarre conspiracy theories, becoming one of the most enigmatic mysteries in modern history. This image captures Freddie Mercury in his beloved garden shortly before his death. Recognized as one of the greatest vocalists in rock history, Freddie passed away on November 24, 1991, due to AIDS-related complications. Until the last days of his life, he kept his health private, making the official announcement of his condition only 1 day before his death, marking him as the first major rock star to succumb to the disease. This image captures American soldiers moments before disembarking on the beaches of Normandy in June 1944, during the historic operation known as D-Day. This landing marked the start of one of the largest offensives of World War II, where thousands of Allied soldiers faced intense combat to establish a foothold in occupied Europe. Many troops faced immediate deaths as soon as they landed on the beaches, making D-Day one of the most traumatic moments of World War II. Vulnerable to enemy fire, the soldiers advanced under intense artillery, machine gun fire, and defensive obstacles. The brutality and sacrifice of that day left a profound mark on historical memory, symbolizing the courage of Allied forces and the high cost of liberating Europe. This photo, one of the last taken aboard the Titanic, shows gym instructor Thomas Macaulay alongside first-class passenger William Parr in the gymnasium, equipped with the latest technology of the time. The two posed for photographer Francis Brown, who disembarked before the tragedy. Macaulay and Parr, however, were among those who perished in the sinking. This image became one of the last records of normal life aboard the Titanic before its fateful final voyage. Filippo Bari, an experienced mountaineer, shared a photo with his family just minutes before being struck by a fatal avalanche in the Italian Alps on a Sunday. In the selfie, Filippo appears smiling, with a mountainous landscape in the background. Alongside the photo, he sent a message to his family. "Look where I am," he wrote, unaware of the avalanche that was about to happen. United States Geological Survey volcanologist David Alexander Johnston was positioned to monitor the anticipated eruption of Mount St. Helens in Skamania County, Washington in 1980. "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it," were his last words, transmitted over the radio to a colleague moments before being struck by the massive shockwave of the eruption. The volcano exploded with devastating force, and Johnston was tragically claimed by the blast. This is the last known photo of Alexei Nikolaevich, the young heir to the Russian throne, alongside his sister Olga. The image taken aboard the steamship Rus in May 1918 shows the siblings as they were being transported to Yekaterinburg in the Russian Soviet Republic. Shortly after, they and the rest of the imperial family would be imprisoned and tragically executed, marking the end of the Romanov dynasty and a dark chapter in Russian history. Moments before a tragedy, Lebanese teenager Mohammed Shar and his friends captured a selfie in Beirut, unaware of what was about to happen. Moments later, a bomb exploded, taking Mohammed's life instantly. An image captured by a passenger aboard Japan Airlines Flight 123 shows moments of tension inside the Boeing 747 shortly before the disaster. Just 12 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft suffered a catastrophic structural failure followed by fatal decompression, causing it to crash near Mount Takamagahara, about 62 miles from Tokyo. The tragedy resulted in the loss of 520 lives, with only 4 survivors, making it one of the deadliest air accidents in history. In the photo, Chris Kremers, 21, and Lisanne Froon, 22, appear smiling during a hike in Panama on April 1, 2014. Shortly afterward, they encountered difficulties and attempted to contact Dutch and Panamanian authorities multiple times, but failed due to weak signal. 10 weeks after their disappearance, a local woman found a blue backpack belonging to Lisanne, with all items intact, including cell phones and a camera. The images found on the devices raised questions, but the exact fate of the two friends remains a mystery to this day. This seemingly routine image captures the SS Grand Camp docked on April 16, 1947. However, it marks the beginning of one of the largest industrial tragedies in United States history. In the photo, members of the Texas City Volunteer Fire Department are seen battling a fire that had started on board the ship. Minutes after this photo was taken, the SS Grand Camp exploded in one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. The blast caused unimaginable devastation in Texas City, resulting in the deaths of 468 people and leaving more than 5,000 injured. In the photo, we see Joseph Kennedy Jr., the older brother of John F. Kennedy. Hours after this image was taken, Joseph was killed in action during World War II. He was on a dangerous mission as a U.S. Navy pilot involving a bombing operation in which his aircraft prematurely exploded. This photo depicts what was supposed to be another routine educational trip, but it ended in tragedy for a group of 24 engineering students on June 8, 2014. During a stop to take photos along a riverbank, the gates of a nearby hydroelectric plant suddenly opened, releasing a flood of water that swept the students away without warning. In an instant, the powerful current pulled them from the shore, turning a moment of relaxation into an unexpected tragedy. Molly LaRue and Jeff Hood, two nature-loving hikers, were exploring the Appalachian Trail in 1990 when their lives were tragically cut short. While traversing the isolated Cove Mountain area in Pennsylvania, they crossed paths with Paul David Cruz, a fugitive on the run. With no suspicion of danger, Molly and Jeff were brutally murdered by Cruz in a crime that shocked the hiking community. Austin Stephanos and Perry Cohen, two teenagers from Florida, were last seen in a boat leaving Jupiter Inlet near Palm City Beach, heading toward the Atlantic Ocean amid an approaching storm. After their departure, they never returned. In an extensive search, more than 25,000 square miles of ocean were scoured by volunteers and the Coast Guard. Although the boat was found, the teenagers' bodies were never recovered, and they remain officially missing. In this photo, French Formula One driver Jules Bianchi was photographed moments before entering the vehicle for the race that would tragically change his life in 2014. During the Japanese Grand Prix, he suffered a serious accident when he collided with a recovery vehicle on the wet track. Bianchi fell into a coma from his injuries, and after months of struggle, he passed away in July 2015. Amid turbulent waters, a large container ship faced powerful waves that began to destabilize it. As the waves struck the hull, the ship started to tilt dangerously, threatening to capsize completely. The situation became critical for the crew, who needed to act quickly to try to regain control and avoid a possible catastrophe at sea. This photo captures the ship tilting in its final moments before it completely sank. Shortly after, the entire cargo of containers was sent to the ocean floor, resulting in significant financial loss. While these hunters posed for a photo with the black bear they had killed as a trophy, they did not realize that another bear, possibly a relative of their prey, was right behind them. Unaware of the imminent danger, the silent presence of the animal made the moment even more tense. In the final moments before the Indian Ocean tsunami hit the shore, these tourists, aware of the wave's unavoidable force, gathered to take a final group photo. Knowing the disaster was imminent, they aimed to capture a moment of unity and peace. This image became a bittersweet reminder, symbolizing both the overwhelming power of nature and human resilience in the face of inevitable tragedy. This photo captures a young bride on her special day, posing for photos moments before a devastating explosion in the port of Beirut on August 4, 2020. What began as a joyful celebration was abruptly interrupted by the force of the explosion, which caused large-scale destruction across the city and injured thousands. During a first public demonstration of the Waco glider, a tragic accident occurred when a poorly secured bolt loosened, causing the right wing to detach in mid-flight. The glider plummeted from a height of 2,000 feet, crashing into Lambert Field in St. Louis in 1943. The impact was described by a witness as a dull thud. Unfortunately, the accident resulted in the deaths of 10 people, leaving a tragic mark in aviation history. In this photo, a tourist captured the moment when, looking out the window during the flight back home, he noticed that the plane's engine showed signs of failure and was about to completely disintegrate. He took this photo, which became the last record of the plane and its passengers. Shortly after the click, the aircraft suffered a catastrophic failure and crashed, resulting in the loss of all lives on board.